We are joined by a STARMUS veteran, theoretical physicist and Nobel laureate Kip Thorne, and an award-winning artist, Lia Halloran. Thank you so much for joining me for this interview of STARMUS Diaries, Professor Thorne, Professor Halloran. And you've seen the launch of the Stephen Hawking Medal for Science Communication from the very beginning. In fact, you are a veteran of STARMUS. You've been with us since the very first.
I've been to virtually every STARMUS. I missed one.
You've missed?
I missed one in Norway, but I've been to every other one.
But you've been to Tenerife, if I'm not mistaken.
Twice.
You contribute to science communication in a way not every scientist and Nobel laureate does. But what drives you to communicate it in such a unique and artistic way? You write poems, you produce feature films, the best ones about science. Does it come naturally to you?
Well, I'm 84. And for the first 50 years of my life, I was a conventional professor, and I decided I wanted to do something different for the second 50 years of my life. And so I'm doing things that I enjoy, that I think also will really help non-scientists understand and enjoy science. And I'll have a little fun at the same time.
Yes. And Lia, do you remember the first time you got inspired by science? And what drives you as an artist to contribute to science communication?
I had a very formative experience. And when I was in high school, I started, my very first job was doing cow eye dissections at a science museum. And strangely enough, that museum sort of formed how I think of my studio practice, which is very experimental and very driven by a curiosity of the natural world. So when I went on to become an artist and started showing in galleries and museums, I started using science as the subject matter of my art practice. My collaboration with Kip is just one example of other collaborations and other projects where I'm looking at the natural world and science as at large to draw from for its subject matter.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to ask about your book, A Warped Side of Our Universe. And I know that you created 650 paintings, and you both worked on the book for 13 years. But was there something that really opened new horizons for you throughout 13 years of working on this book? Because I'm sure you touched so many things known as much as also unknown.
For me, it was the realization that it might be possible through tightly integrated paintings and verse to convey the essential ideas, the essential concepts, the feelings, the human aspects of science to non-scientists. That this was a new kind of medium through which to communicate. And it became for us an experiment to see whether or not we could really pull it off. I think we've done pretty well, and it has been a great joy. But it's this creation of a whole new way of communicating that has been for me the greatest thrill.
Mm-hmm. And for you, Lia?
I mean, I think our book is a great example of what the joy of collaboration can result in. We actually didn't set off to try to make a 260-page book. We just started a conversation where we iterated back and forth for what became 13 years, and it resulted in this, quite large project. But I think the joy of it was that as a contemporary artist that mostly shows in galleries and museums, this gave me an opportunity to do something that was challenging, that was different in the same way that it pulled Kip out of what his normal kind of swim lane was. And we were looking to create something that dazzled and excited us. For many years we said, this is the book that we would want to read, and even if we only sell 2 copies to Kip and myself, this is the book about black holes.
Well, and one to your wife and one to my wife.
Yeah, 4 copies. But that it would actually do something different, and essentially that would be an intimate presentation of the experience of the universe that could only be done through visuals and Kip's poetic prose.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I also, if I'm not mistaken, throughout these 13 years, also Interstellar was in works. And if I'm not mistaken, if I'm correct, your works also influenced, in a way, impacted the film Interstellar, right?
Well, I'll say I met Kip at a cocktail party many many, many years ago, and I immediately gushed to him that his work had influenced my MFA show at Yale University, and I invited him over to my studio for a studio visit.
And then I was just blown away by the paintings that she showed to me, by her creativity and by the dazzling paintings.
And Kip had said that there was a young filmmaker who was interested in making a film about his science, and would I be interested in helping to visualize some of these complex ideas of extreme gravitational situations.
And so she drew for me on a piece of paper a sketch, a beautiful, fabulous pencil sketch of black holes and wormholes emerging from a two-dimensional model of our universe. And I took that eagerly to my first meeting with Steven Spielberg, who was the director of this movie. That's the young filmmaker.
I had heard of him at that point.
Yes, and to get started in our discussion. And then when Steven dropped out of this project and Christopher Nolan picked it up and became the director of this movie that became Interstellar, I used this drawing also with him.
Yeah, and the last question, if you could describe STARMUS in 2 words, how would you describe our festival?
Inspiring and fabulous.
I would say exciting and surprising.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
This is all. This was for STARMUS Diaries.